Pero in terms of like cornering and handling, how is it?
For the suspension that's currently equipped, and considering the fact that it's converted, it's really good. I think it's a correct Evo rack. It is quick steer. Like the response is very quick talaga.
Yeah, konting galaw lang. It's like a go-kart.
Let's go pull.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. If you don't know what today's video is, I'll finally be showing you the new car I got. Well, new car. But anyway, sana magustuhan niya to. And I just got the gimbal, so I've been trying to learn how to use it properly and learning how to color grade. Hopefully you'll like this next part of the video that I made for you guys. And I'll go over the car later, like a full walk around, ano yung ginawa natin, or do it. I'll put in some clips of me picking it up at the shop and testing it out. It's pretty much this whole video, so hopefully you like this next part. Full walk around of the exterior first and give you guys a walkthrough of what this car is exactly. So this is a 1998 Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 5 GSR version. There are two versions of this actually. I think, I'm not sure if there's a third one, but from what I know is there is the GSR version, which is this one, and there is an RS version, which is like the lightweight rally spec version or race spec. I forgot what the RS means, but the GSR version came with power windows and aircon, as well as these OEM OZ Racing F1 wheels. The specs on these are 17 by 7.5 plus 38, and then we put some spacers in it, 15 millimeter, just to give it some good fitment. Then the RS version came with like the, what do you call this, the roll-up windows, and I don't think it had aircon in it, so yeah. And in terms of the body kit and everything, this is how it came stock out of the factory. It came with the big wing. This is actually adjustable. You can see here, you can actually tilt the wing, so there's like a latch here that you just have to open and then unbolt it. But for the most part, the whole body of this car is made of aluminum. Yeah, if I tap it like this, it's really hollow. And I think the whole car weighs around 1,250 kilos, which is on the lighter side of the Evo series. I think the Evo 7 is the Cedia type Lancer, which is, I guess, the bigger body one. I really just liked this version the most because of the headlights as well as the wing. Because on the Evo 6, the wing is a little bit raised, and I wasn't exactly a fan of that. I wanted like the one-piece look like this, so I was super happy with that. And the Evo 5s, well, I guess the guy that sold me this car sold it with these taillights, these extra ones you have to add on the trunk. So at least I didn't have to look for that anymore. I had the car tinted, the windows dark, and then the front medium, because I just want, I guess, privacy when I'm driving, and I don't really like being looked at in the car like a fishbowl, so like a fish in a fishbowl. I think it came out really well because the car is white and then the tint's black, so there's some contrast. The Evo 5s came with amber corner lights, so period correct accessories. I don't have the Ghana doors yet because I like these and these are electronic. I'm not sure if the Ghana doors are electronic as well, but they are smaller, so yeah, I don't think that's gonna be helping me with the really dark tint. But the fenders, they look in okay condition. Well, the cool thing actually, well, I don't really know if it's cool for some people, but Evos come with a rear wiper, which is nice and helpful when I'm driving in the rain. So yeah, I might need the, what do you call this? I forgot what it was called, like a rain guard here. I don't know, I just like the look of it on Evos. That is pretty much the exterior of the car. We'll go into the engine now. So the engine of this is the 4G63 turbo. There's a 2-liter 4-cylinder dual overhead cam, 16 valve iron block engine. It's fully stock, but the guy gave me Cosworth 272 cams to go with it, but I haven't installed it yet because I need rods as well as a new belt if ever. He upgraded the blow-off valve to a TLQ. Then we changed the radiator to an aluminum radiator from JC Racing, as well as changed the inlet hoses because they were rusted. The master cylinder for the clutch and the brakes were changed also because they were shot. Then for the coilovers, they are XYZ coilovers from the UK. I looked them up and the preload setting felt more like an 11 to 12. So they are on the stiffer end because coilovers or the spring rates usually range from 6 to 12. Correct me if I'm wrong, but usually the lower the number, the softer it is. And I had DJ tune the suspension to, I guess, prioritize cornering because Evos have quick steer, or well, original Evos have quick steer, which means you'll be able to corner faster. It's essentially like assisted cornering or assisted steering, you could say. So I guess that's why people really buy Evos, just for the handling part of it, not so much top speed. But you'll see Evos anyway, like drag cars, like doing launches and stuff like that. But I don't really have the capabilities to do that because if you keep launching the car, it might break the transfer case, which is a well-known thing to break on Evos. Like for STIs, it's like the crank or I think head gaskets. So for the most part, Evo engines, the 4G63, that's why a lot of people are attracted to the platform, is because the engine is really reliable. And the mileage on this is around 156,000 kilometers, which is a little over, or I think close to 100,000 miles. It is pretty high, yes, but that is why I did have DJ at Simple Racing Solutions, or SRS, do preventive maintenance, and the car was there for a month and a half, which is why from the last video I posted about getting this new project car. You'll see it there. There were a load of stuff that I had changed and fixed, so you'll see that. But big thank you to DJ again from Simple Racing Solutions. You can check their Facebook out, and he really prioritizes suspension tuning, but I know he can work on cars as well. So if you have any inquiries or if you want to have your suspension tuned naman, pwede done. You can have it done there. Freaking fly. I'll put up a clip of DJ bringing me around in this car because he was showing me the suspension tune and what he did to it so far. For the settings, if you haven't noticed the camber plate, I'll show you here. He put a +4 on the camber, on the caster setting, and then -2 on the front for the camber and 0 for the rear. You'll see that in the next clip that I'm gonna put, which is right now. But in terms of like cornering and handling, how is it?
It's for the suspension that's currently equipped, and considering the fact that it's converted, it's really good.
You can't compare it to when I brought it in because the shocks were dead.
Yeah.
That's how you rode? Yeah.
So there's a difference when the car's converted talaga?
Oh, of course. There's a lot of differences in terms of steering. To get to this level where the car tracks straight and the steering wheel is straight, we had to do so much work. Diba, I told you we're gonna use mismatched tie rods intentionally just to allow us that adjustment. One side is longer. That's because your rack is not in the center of the car. Converted problem talaga. I think your rack right now is the original right-hand drive rack, which has its pinion, of course, on this side.
Right, yeah.
They just inverted it.
They just did some weld work with it
Oo.
to make it align, I guess. Kaya it's uneven
Yes. Oo.
in the joint.
You have to get used to the clutch pala since this is a 4-puck talaga. Well, I mean, you've had experience with racing clutches, pero yung
Yeah.
timpla niya talaga medyo
I think mine was 6-puck.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, that's a bit
Ogura.
easier naman.
Twin plate. Yeah, it was light. It was light.
Kasi when the first time we brought this out of the shop after the clutch was just installed, on-off talaga. Super hirap timplahin. Pero right now, since medyo na break-in na, may modulation na. which is good.
Yeah, I noticed the ride is way smoother. Talaga.
I did my best to tune the dampers to match it to the stiff spring rates.
Okay.
So yes, the car is bouncy, but it only bounces once per bump, as you'll notice later. Kasi other coilovers, or pagka hindi match yung dampers, when you go airborne, pag landing mo, papay-pay pa. Ito isa lang. So at least. Your coilover came with 2 damper adjustments.
Yeah, that one.
I'm gonna leave them here.
Can you do it on the rear too?
Yes.
Accessible?
Accessible.
Okay.
You just pull the
Covers. I mean, the 86 was like this. I feel like worse. Worse pa than this. Yeah.
like pag
This is so
umupak
much-
ka, for example, sa katip, talagang
Oh. I mean, you can't blame the road.
yeah, the road is really bad.
But there is quick steer.
Yes,
Correct
it
me if
has
I'm-
quick steer.
Nice, nice.
It's a right-hand drive rack,
Nice.
yes. But since I think it's a correct Evo rack, it is quick steer. Like the response is very quick talaga.
Yeah, konting galaw lang. It's like a go-kart. Kasi the first one I looked at, walang quick steer. It was a literal Lancer.
Oh.
Tas they just put the floor panel lang. Tas Evo.
Gabe, already left hand yun.
I guess, but
Yeah, but this is still a CB90.
Yeah.
Iba talaga ang
Kasi
Evo chassis.
I know there's more welds on the Evo chassis, right?
Yes.
Compared to the regular Lancer. Extra welds.
Extra reinforcements. Still
Is it around the, or the whole thing?
Whole thing eh. The most obvious one is at the strut tower.
Yeah, I know. I noticed. Yeah.
But there are other more subtle reinforcements, like and I think underneath the car, but the subframe.
I see.
Let's do a pull. There's one thing that I noticed. I'm starting to think that the rubbing before was not the wheels.
What was it?
Oh, it's the clutch micro slipping.
Huh?
Yeah, it's gonna go like that. I think, but I'm not sure.
But that was a hard pull at second, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And there is no rub.
Yeah, there's no.
Dati,
Before,
like,
meron eh.
wala
Yeah,
pa
meron.
hard pull. May rub na.
May rub na, yeah.
Of course, the suspension settings help. Pero before the clutch rub, there was the rubbing eh. Your aircon's really cold, by the way.
Lamig, oo.
Sobrang important yan.
Super.
I'm proud.
Kasi I know the mileage on these cars, diba? Like,
Well, kasi honestly, the 4G63 is pretty bulletproof eh.
it's iron block, yeah.
Iron block. The injectors are rated. They have a high
High.
flow rate eh.
Like 550 or 500? Somewhere there.
I need to show you something eh, about the rear end.
Ano, you're gonna kick it?
Yeah, yeah.
Pero for sub 300, iba pa rin the pull for all wheel.
Okay. Like even the control. And then you combine it with brakes.
Yeah,
So you maintain that slide.
I see.
And then you kill the slide, you just release the brakes and it stops back.
Pero the power is just on like that the moment you step.
Yes. The thing with this car, it has power, yes. But power, what is the end result of more power? You get more speed.
Right.
You have more speed, you can transfer more weight around. That's why I was able to easily get that rear end out. Kasi I was traveling pretty quickly na eh. Then when I tapped the brakes with a good Scandi flick.
It felt like a go-kart.
Yeah.
Solid.
Ano, solid ba?
Solid,
Yeah.
solid.
Sorry, I think nagulat ka ba?
No. I'm looking for my Relax.
Oh,
I find it later.
You're on bad tires pa. In my opinion, these are not good.
oh yeah. And
So the progressiveness of that slide and the control will increase pa.
Would you-
Better tires and better brakes.
would you recommend 225s pa din, or can I go one up 235?
Personal preference
Oh.
225. So you get to the limit faster,
Right.
but it's also easier to control.
Right.
235s medyo traidor eh. Pag kumalas medyo yun na pala yung limit.
And kasi sometimes when there's too much grip, it starts hopping.
Yes.
I think.
So it's a no drama slide. As long as you do know what you're doing naman. So
It's gonna be fun. Thank you.
no
Thank
problem.
you.
No problem.
The car feels totally different. And I'll go into the different types of Evos per se, if you know what I'm talking about, because this might only apply lang to people in the Philippines. I'm not sure, pero if you haven't noticed, my plate starts with a B. A few years ago, there was this port, it's called the Cagayan port, where prior to that port opening, the only way you could really import, say an Evo at that time, before they opened the Cagayan port, you'd have to actually cut the car into half. So they'd call it here in the Philippines putol. So pinuputol nila yon. And then when it lands here as a half-cut car, then they just assemble it and like weld it together. So people call it here ibuo or assemblution. So keep in mind, if it is a B plate, that is when the Cagayan port opened. So that means this car was brought in from Japan as a whole, meaning there was no cuts. Because usually if you look at some of the other Evos, well, not other Evos, but some people do it, you're gonna see like cuts here as well as in the under chassis. Because like I said, you'd have to cut the car in half and weld it together, and it becomes legal here to use. So that's what some people do if they can't get their hands on an Evo. So I was lucky enough to actually find one that is a B plate. But the only problem is now is it is a right-hand drive conversion, because I know that there were only 20 locally released left-hand drive Evo 5s that were brought into the Philippines, from what I know lang. So those go for, I don't know, someone offered me like close to 4 million pesos for an original left-hand drive, and usually B-plate converted cars go for half the price, more or less, of those. I don't have 4 million, that's like $80,000 to spend on a 23-year-old car. But anyway, I'll go into what we did, because I had the car tuned, well, suspension tuned. We had a load of stuff that was changed on it. So going over the interior of the car, for a 23-year-old car, it is pretty decent, I guess. But I mean, what will you expect from a car that's from 1998? I think Evo 4s came with Recaro's stock. From the Evo 4 onwards, the 1 to 3 didn't come with it. Then I had the steering wheel changed, which you saw in the other video that I talked about of the unboxing. We finally installed the steering wheel, suede, and the rally arch shift knob with the shift boot, the black with red stitching shift boot. I need to install this tomorrow, but I'll need like a special drill, a cobalt drill, because the pedals are metal, so it'll be hard to drill through. For the most part, the interior looks pretty decent. You can really see like the Japanese lettering talaga. So it came with a HKS turbo timer, boost gauge, the AFR gauge is right here. Then for the sound system, it is a JBL sound system. The guy installed it, so it came with a Pioneer head unit as well. I had the aircon refresh, the Freon, so now it's super cold. Then I had these put in. They're just like seatbelt pads, just so that, you know, they're comfy. The rear seats, it actually has an armrest, which is pretty cool for a sport compact sedan. I mean, the seats, or the legroom, isn't too much, considering this car is pretty small on its own. I mean, I'm 6'2", and I guess I could fit. So maybe for a guy that's shorter, it might be more roomy or spacious, but yeah, at least you can fit 4 people inside, or you have more space to put stuff. For the trunk, actually, this is a full-size golf bag, and we actually tested it out. So if you have 1 full-size golf bag and 2 junior bags, you can fit up to 3 golf bags in here. Actually, no. You can fit up to 4 golf bags if they were all junior size. So it just gives you an idea on how big the trunk space actually is. I guess you could fit like 1 big suitcase here and like a small one and a bunch of stuff. This would be really good for road trips if you're gonna put your like cooler or something, which I plan to do soon. Pag natapos na yung break-in, then we'll go on a road trip, or we'll go on runs outside of the city. Put in some clips from when I was taking the car back home, some turbo noises and stuff like that. Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy this car as much as I do. I'll be making more content with this car because it is the only car I have right now, but I enjoy driving it, and which is why I want to keep it really stock for the most part, just because I don't want anything to break on me right now, and I don't want to be going back to the shop again and again. So yeah, super happy with it. Been driving it around for the past week. So what do I have planned next for this car? I need new brake rotors, because DJ mentioned that the rotors installed are below the minimum required width to actually be resurfaced. So I need to get that changed because it is a 23-year-old car. I need new tires as well, because these ones aren't the best. I don't know, they're like Safe Rich 225 45 17s. They are semi-slicks, but I could get better ones like Yokohama's A80Rs. Those semi-slicks, those are pretty good. I talked to a few people who had Evos and they said those were better than Toyo's, so I might get that. What's next? Probably steel braided lines for the brakes, just so that the current ones don't like pop on me, or because usually if it's rubber, they expand in heat, so they eventually pop and break, and that's how you get airy feeling when you step on the brake. But we fixed that because we changed the brake cylinder and we bled the fluid, so the brakes feel good for now. I'm not jinxing it, but yeah, I need to get that done. Probably I need a new tune, a retune, so that's gonna cost me around 35,000 pesos, which is around $600 to $700 here. I'll probably go for a safe, reliable tune. It's running on Blaze 100 now, which is the highest octane gas we can get here in the Philippines. Pretty much it for this car. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I'll be sure to answer them and put them in the next video. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.